needed to improve our backcourt. We needed to get great leadership as well to partner with some of our other established leaders. And we made the decision to go with Kelsey Plum. There's been zero looking back or hesitation in that decision.
What's up, everybody? It's Jackie Ray. I'm here with Women's Hoops Network and Jackie Ray TV. I am so excited because I get to interview someone that I've been dying to interview, but I talk to all the time. Welcome, LA Sparks GM Raegan Pebley. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Thank you. I know we've been trying to do this for a minute.
I know.
I'm grateful for this opportunity as well.
Me too. I'm so excited to talk to you. I want to just start off really quick because there's something that I've been dying to tell you, and I don't know why I don't tell you in person, but we are fellow alumni.
Are you a Buff?
I'm a Buffalo.
Hey. Okay. All right. So what dorm were you in? Let's do that.
So I didn't go to the dorms because I'm from Colorado. So I made the drive, and then I went to the dorms for like a quarter. But it was my first time out of the house. So my mom was like, nah, you're not even going to class. You're coming back home.
Well, I know you don't want to spend too much time, but what major were you there?
Communications.
Me too.
Shut up.
Yeah, Steve Jones.
Yep.
I got you.
Okay, look, we're gonna have to sit down and talk about that. Yeah, okay. But I ended up going back and then I went to see you Denver because again, your girl was doing too much. It's my first time out of the house, raised super Christian, and then got outside. It was not the look for your girl. So we'll talk about that later.
It gets us, makes us do some crazy things.
Man. But we'll talk about that later.
Awesome. Well, go Buffs.
Yes, go Buffs. I'm excited for them and everything that they're doing right now. But I want to talk about you because you had a very unique opportunity when you went to Utah to really build a team from the ground up. What is that like? Is that a less stressful or a more stressful situation as a head coach?
Well, I'm not going to say less or more. I think it was just really different, very unique. Utah State was one of 3 Division I schools in the country that did not have women's basketball. This was just about 2002, I think it was, and women's basketball was really like starting to take off. I mean, it's definitely the last few years another level, but back then you had the UConn and the Tennessee and the height of all of that, and Utah State didn't have it. The other 2 schools were VMI and the Citadel, and one of those schools didn't even have female students at the time. So I was hired to start that program from scratch. Absolutely nothing. Like there was no locker room, no players, no balls, no jerseys, nothing. And so the advantage of that is you're not inheriting something else. You're not deconstructing and then constructing. You're literally just the constructing element. This was pre-transfer portal days, so definitely, a different way of rebuilding a college program than what people get to do now. So I think there was advantage there. The disadvantages is you didn't have anyone to speak on, the culture or what it meant to be an alum. You and I just had a moment about being CU Buffs. Like, imagine if we were both CU women's basketball players and like the even stronger connection that I could speak to of what that meant being in that locker room and graduating from it. So we didn't have any of that. But it was a moment, like everything goes through a faith filter for me, Jackie. And so it was a moment I think God was showing me like more of what he intended for me. And what I really try to say, whether it was as a coach or now as a general manager, when people ask me, what's your job? It's not, I'm a coach. It's not, I'm a general manager. I really try to speak to it as to what's deeper than that. What is it really about? And it's serving people and helping and serving a culture. And I think that opportunity at Utah State really brought that to life and unearthed that purpose in me.
I love that you say that because I can tell by just getting to know you that you do walk in a purpose. You're very intentional with your moves. So I'm also wondering, when you were in the WNBA, a lot of players were going overseas to play ball, but you were an assistant coach. So did you always know that your purpose was to serve in a different capacity than just the game?
I think so. I mean, my daddy's a coach. My dad still coaches. He might be one of the oldest college coaches out there.
How old is he?
He's 81.
Go Dad. Okay.
He's a junior college assistant coach and a team that's done great things, won a lot of championships, and he was a high school coach. He coached in the WBL, which was a women's pro league in the late 70s, early 80s as well. So I just grew up in a home where, and I'll say this, my dad was a coach even at that pro level. And I grew up in a family of, I have 8 siblings or I'm one of 8. And you couldn't be a women's basketball coach even at the pro level and have enough money to raise a family. And so he was always finding a way to do that job while also really doing a job that brought the paycheck home, that kept food in our mouths and a roof over our head. So I think in that rooting, I understood and learned that coaching was more than a paycheck. It's a passion and it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's an all the time thing. And so I think that's also what I fell in love with about basketball and being a part of a team. And it's really, I still am constantly, I'll be 80 looking for my huddle of my sisters, and growing up in a family with that many people, being on a team, and the literal act of huddling up, whether it's huddling up and, on 3, going out to compete, huddling up into prayer, huddling up to build, a staff with Lynn and form a roster with our organization. Like I'm always looking for that huddle. And that's again, I think part of why I love this game and coaching while I was playing. I might have been, I don't know for sure, but I was one of the first that was playing and coaching in my off
Yes.
season. And I just, wanted to explore that part of the game and be around it that way.
Now I'm from a blended family, but I'm the baby of 6. Where are you in the 8?
Yeah, so blended family as well. My
Okay.
dad, I have a sibling, older sister that from his previous marriage, and then my older sister from my mom and dad, and then there's me and a bunch more after. So
Good
yeah,
love. I love
I
that.
know.
Love
6
produces,
girls,
doesn't
2
it?
boys. 6 girls, 2
Oh,
boys. Yeah.
I love that. We
Yeah.
are, um, 4 girls, 2 boys.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You
yeah.
you almost had it, you're starting 5 of all girls.
Almost,
Uh,
almost, yeah.
You can go play in Unrivaled.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so at TCU, obviously, the goal is to always win. There was a struggle with that at TCU. And I think as a journalist, and most certainly the fans, we always tend to come down really hard on the head coach, but we never really talk about the emotional and mental strain, not only a slump causes for a coach, but the scrutiny causes. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Well, there was a couple things. I mean, we built that program to where, we had finished 4th in the Big 12. We finished 2nd in the Big 12, and that was the COVID year. We were anticipated to go into the NCAA tournament that year, anywhere from being a 4 seed or a 6 seed in some of the projections. And then COVID really shut us down. And I will say, I think not only did like COVID just crush that season, the way we recruited, the way we built relationships and really organized, and not organized, but the rooting of our program was about relationships. And we started that in recruiting. It was in person. It was, bringing people onto our campus. And at that time, TCU, like our football team hadn't gone and done what they did in Michigan against, in the college playoffs. And, obviously there's our men's basketball team had done some things after that, but not a lot of people knew about TCU the way people know now. And you had to step foot on that campus to get it. And with the recruiting shutdown, like we couldn't even have people on our campus. And it really, really hurt us. Definitely. Now we had some special teams and some special people still, but it impacted winning. And there is scrutiny, but again, I will go back to that my why and how I judge myself. And who I allow to be the ones that judge me and their judgment to impact me it wasn't first on the list winning.
Right.
Like, it's about how am I changing lives? How am I resourcing and supporting the growth of people into the best version of themselves? Assessing our culture. And I had to really dig in on that, and turn down that exterior noise. But winning's a part of it. Like, we want to win, and I get that. Now, what I am so grateful for is that I love TCU. I love the people there. I still have great relationships. I walk into that arena with my head held high, and it was a partnership in the decision that it was time for a next chapter. And I got to been working on my heart for previous few years, on opening my eyes to new opportunities that I wanted to pursue.
So now, in that pursuit, you end up becoming the general manager of the Los Angeles Sparks, who were in a mess when you inherited them. We talk in the media room, and we always said that we could kind of feel that some of the things that were happening in the background were manifesting on the court. And so, as you're assessing this, and as God is kind
Um,
of leading you, and you see this mess, what's the conversation between you and God when you see
yeah.
that?
Oh goodness. Um, a lot of conversation, but a lot of trying to just listen. One of the things that I think that I grew a lot in is, again, getting back to the integrity of who I am and what I know to be true. And some of that comes through age too, where you are like, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna ask it. I'm gonna say it and shoot my shot because
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen? As I had this opportunity started to present itself, and it was originally, the introduction was originally for a different role, and I knew that that part of my path I felt like was done, and I had to really say, I know this is what you guys want from me, but what I am looking to do in this next chapter is step into front office space. And you know, one thing led to another, and it was months of conversation, not only with the current front office at the time, but also with Eric Holloman, and understanding, was there space for candid and clear conversations about where the sparks were the perceptions of it and the reality, and the gap that existed in between. And there was a deep hunger to have that kind of honest conversation, because if you can't be honest about it, you can't address it, and you can't
Right.
really move forward about what the solutions are. And I wasn't interested in coming in and just, being able to have a title. Again, it's about making real change and resourcing people and teams and organizations to be their best self. And we had a lot of work to do here in LA in that space. And super thankful for, I think to have those kind of brave conversations, it takes two people. It takes all the people that are involved to not just take a problem and literally slide it across the table and say, here's the problem, fix it. It's putting it in between us, sitting next to each other. And how do we solve this together? And not, yeah, I'll say, like, not get butt hurt over the tough conversation. Like, not about ego. It's about what needs to get done. And I have found that partnership in Eric and all of our ownership, with Christine, our president, with all of the people that have started to come into this organization and were already existing. Nat White, like, there's been so many people that are just been eager to address the real issues. Jackie, we use the language a lot, like, we're working towards bamboo season here.
Yes.
And that's not my idea. I've heard that in different ways and contexts, but we had to get the soil right before we planted the seed. And we've just been focusing a lot on the soil the last year. And I think we're in seed planting season right now. And once that takes root strong, it'll grow down before it grows up. It'll pop through that soil, and we'll see the bamboo start to grow rapidly, really, really fast. And we're getting closer to popping through that soil.
I agree. I think anyone who's followed me on social media knows even when we had losing streaks, I've said, okay, I know we're losing, but this is different. just give it a second. And you can see that you can feel that, especially us in the media room, we can feel that. But as you're trying to make that good soil, what was
Yeah.
some of your first immediate short-term goals for the Sparks?
Yeah. Well, to a period of just staying curious and listening and watching and not judging because there's reasons why things are in a space that they are. And I really believe that there was good intentions previously. So just understanding why did we end up in this space? And again, having tough conversations, but also staying patient with those lessons to come. I think also it was really, building partnerships rooted in trust with the players and other, key stakeholders. And, that takes time, like, to really build it, like, the speed of trust, people wanna just go point A to point B, and it's a
Right.
straight line, and it's 0 to 100, and it doesn't happen like that. You have to let tough moments happen and that you prove that you can show up for them in those moments, and how you choose to show up and how you choose to resource to really start to foster true trust. So I've been trying to do that. And those stakeholders, yes, are our players first and foremost, but it's also agents and media and community members, and it's other, people within the organization. And I think that's been continues to be work in place. It was also taking a hard look at things like our salary cap and our roster and, building strategy behind that and not just a 1 year strategy, but how do we look at 3 years out and 5 years out from here? Um, it was also about looking at the draft. Like we didn't want to build just off of free agency or just off of the draft. So, you saw us last year believe in that draft class. And I thought that draft class last year was an incredible deep class. And we acquired that second pick in the lottery. And that was able to not only give us the second pick with Cameron, but the fourth pick with Rakia. And looking at this year's class and the potential with it. And obviously we knew we needed to improve our backcourt. We needed to get great leadership as well to partner with some of our other established leaders, and we made the decision to go with Kelsey Plum. And there's been zero looking back or hesitation in that decision. So just a lot of strategy work and how we're going to build this roster, and then facility work. We're in, and that's a huge space of resourcing our players and building trust with all of those groups of people. And I'm really proud of the work that this organization and our ownership are putting into that.
Let's just talk just based on your faith and what you're talking about. I feel like the relationship between you and Dearica Hamby must be kind of a simpatico relationship because I remember her first interview with media, she was literally in tears, but now she's mother hen basically and really is helping this young talent. What's the relationship between you and Dearica?
I think it's one that I give her so much credit in that relationship. Like she had a lot of reasons to maybe have a ton of guards up and just kind of look out for herself. And she's never ever approached our relationship that way. She's been really vulnerable, really honest, and she's been eager to partner. Dearica is a leader. There's so many different types of leadership styles. And Dearica's leadership style, I think that she meets people with first is nurturing. And, part of that's her being in like mom stage of life too. And our youth of our team, man, we've needed it. Um, and I think, I am a mom. I think that's a leadership trait that I lead with as well. So what I've just tried to encourage her in is like, you have to sip so you can pour. You're pouring into so many people, like your own children, and our team and this league. She gets involved with the PA whenever she possibly can. And she's the first to raise her hand on community events as well. I'm like, but you got to sip and take care of yourself. So I've just tried to remind her of that, and again build that trust with her that she can come to me with the things that are not only easy for me to hear but come to me with the things that are hard for me to hear as somebody who is helping lead this org.
I could talk to you all day and I have a ton more questions, but
Okay.
let's get to some fun questions. So
Okay.
let's say you're driving through traffic in LA, which is every day. Are you listening to music or a podcast?
Both. Kind of depends
Okay.
on the time of day. Mornings, I listen to podcasts. I usually listen to like that's how a lot of times I get my kind of devotional on in the morning. I've really been into lately Inky Johnson. I don't know if you pay attention to Inky's, but he's got a couple of great podcasts that I just love. So, and then the evening, afternoons, it's music for sure.
Okay. Favorite style of movie? Horror, sci-fi, what do you like?
Not core.
Dang
No.
it, I can't find any horror buddies in the WNBA.
No. I don't know. Probably I like ones that make you think. I like historical fiction. I like artsy fartsy type of movies too. But I've been more into series, I think, than
Yeah.
movies lately.
Mhm. Okay. So there's a league-wide karaoke battle.
Oh,
You
geez.
have to pick a duet partner. Who are you picking to do the duet with you, and what song are you going to sing?
Oh, geez. Okay. Am I supposed to pick like my
You
peers,
can
like
pick
other PMs or
no,
players?
you can pick any you can even pick media people. You can pick whoever you want that's involved with the WNBA.
Okay. Huh. Man, this is a big question.
This is
Uh,
the hardest one, right?
I kind of feel like I'm not going off of talent because I sure can't sing, and I don't know if this person can sing. But if I'm gonna go try to have a really good time doing this type of thing, I think I'd go DT. I'd go Diana.
Yes, 100%. Mhm.
And song, I mean, I would trust her on the song choice. I'd be like, "Whatever you want, and I'll be your backup singer. I got you." Play a mean air guitar or whatever, but, yeah, I think I'd go Diana.
I
Have a good
love
time.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I want to see. I want to see at least the Sparks have a karaoke night.
Okay. Well,
That's the event that I want to see, and I would pick Dearica Hamby, and we will do No Scrubs.
oh, I think, I will think I wanna see that too.
Right.
I think I wanna see it. You know who else would be really fun in this is
Hmm.
get you Ray Burrell and then like
Oh, I know. I can never get in through an interview with Ray because I'm cracking up laughing because we're just clowning the whole time. I gotta be more serious with her.
yes, I think you gotta get her into your trio.
Yes. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys so
Thanks,
much for
Jackie.
doing this and organizing this. And thank you guys for watching. Once again, I'm Jackie Ray with Women's Hoop Network and Jackie Ray TV, and we'll see you next time.